facilities. And again, in 1945, air bombarding has almost wiped out all those kinds of central area of Tokyo. So we have to start again from this ashes to the new modern life. And at that time, unfortunately, it was I myself was a student at this time, and we firmly believe this is the future vision of Tokyo. And this picture is a part of the movie which was produced by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government in 1947. And it says, the Tokyo's future after 20 years. So Tokyo should be like this, but of course it was wrong. Well, so we have learned, you see, this kind of the modern type of the housing estate. This is the Senryu town in Osaka, which has existing now. But now the current situation of Tokyo is like this. We haven't had enough experiences in building up creating our prototype model of urban housing. So you see, without much of the good urban prototypes, we have to build almost the disorderly kind of the building assets we are putting together. Well, this is, unfortunately, but it's interesting because this is a picture of Shimokitazawa, which because there's no modernization process actually has improved, has been done here, and except these two railway lines. So this has become quite an interesting area, and even internationally it becomes a famous area. But again comes the disaster of the 2011, the 311 disaster, which President Barbara has described. And of course we have to be prepared. This kind of the earthquake is again in 5-10 years. And some of the reconstruction process are done by this way. Well, this is not a reconstruction, but anyhow, we are trying to keep our traditional the craftsmanship and traditional production level in some areas, like Hanayama in Yamagata Prefecture. This is the wooden bridge there. And now, because I feel very strongly that we are lacking the new prototype of the urban housing. We tried, together with many experts, we tried to build up a new urban housing system. You see, problem is we are not separating out the houses with other commercial and official office and clinic and those kinds of the other activities. We try to put those kinds of the activities together into urban facet as an urban building type. Maguhari, the housing project, which I have been engaged in almost 25 years. From the starting point, I have been kind of one major producer of this town. And now I have moved to this town, so I'm living here. I don't know how you evaluate this, but this building is a elementary school, and there's no kind of the separation of the elementary school from the outside urban spaces. And this is a courthouse in each block. There's a court here. Also the court in a higher building prototype. Oh, this is the scene from my study. I'm living here, so from my study I can see this scene. And also this scene. You see, problem here in Japan is that this is a private the area, and this is a road area, and this is a park area, and this is a ground, the school playground, and all those kind of the spaces are managed, owned, and they managed, maintained by the separate body. But you see, from our student point of view, there is no use of separating these kind of spaces into this kind of jurisdiction. We need to have the universal public space, and we try to, you see, wipe out all those kind of the fences and those kind of space of the tools to separate out these kind of the spaces with different jurisdictions. So in this festival time, that people come together, and this kind of the street use are quite frequently. We can do that. And the final interesting story is that, you see, this town is nearby the stadium of the baseball team, which is named the Marines, Rotte Marines. And the former manager of the Rotte Marines resided in the particular Bay town. And we have promised that to the manager that if you happen to be made the champion of the league, then we would have made this kind of the party. And fortunately or unfortunately, they have succeeded in winning the championship. So we have to do that kind of the festival. It's pretty difficult to perform this, you see, this kind of the festival. Not only to perform this event, but also the problem is how to, you see, clean this kind of the dress. But within 14 minutes, it's completely cleaned up. That means the sense of the people here that are accustomed to this kind of communal action to clean up the environment together without any order from outside. So this is quite an interesting episode for that kind of thing. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kei Minahura. At this point, we will have a panel discussion session for the Session 1, Visions for Reconstruction Planning. We would like to request all the previous speakers that has already been presented here to be at this table. Professor Maura Michio, Dean Joseph Michael Spina, Katsuchi Imada, Danilo Quentabella, and Mr. Kei Minahura to come up stage and please sit here on the discussion panel table. Of course, we would like also to call Professor Juan Ramon Jimenez from the University of Shiga Prefecture, the moderator for this panel discussion. A round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, assistant. For now, we start the panel discussion of the session of the vision planning with the 5 panelists. We will have around 30 minutes. We have already the last time. I want to ask also on the boundaries of another section to be critic and to enter discussion in this session. This session is focusing on urban planning and urban planning of the Tacloban city. So I want to focus this session especially in Tacloban. In Tacloban and in the urban planning of Tacloban and the development of Tacloban. The title of this conference is Urban Redevelopment is not recovery. Is no rehabilitation. I want that we make a difference between prevention plan and development plan. So, at this, I want to ask the opinions of the speaker about the actual recovery plan. What do you think in compare with the, for example, Cebu plan, more visceral, long-time plan? Do you don't think that recovery plan is really rapid?
First of all, before I answer the question, I was very interested in the discussion of Professor Minohara here regarding the developments in Japan, because it seems that we have the same interest in social interaction. No? I think it is the important thing in development, even here in Tacloban. To be resilient, we should have people connect with each other, no? Mixing all classes of people. And in Cebu, for example, the segregation is becoming very pronounced in that the rich is moving out of the mountains to exclusive subdivisions, and the poor remains in the vulnerable areas of the city. So with these social spaces, as we were suggesting earlier, we can bring all classes of people, no? One learning from each other. And during disasters, this critical connections, social connections with people will make the community very resilient. I just want to connect, with what Professor here is saying, because there's a big difference between how we develop our cities in Japan and the Philippines. You know, I was in Japan 2 weeks ago, and from the plane, I saw the big difference in Philippine cities and Japanese cities, because the Japanese develop in the low areas, no? And then they preserve their mountain areas. So it's very green. From the plane, you can see the mountains very green. And when you get to a flat area along the coast, you see the communities developing around the flat areas. Now, of course, there's a danger because of the tsunami now we are experiencing and all that. Even in Tacloban, the storm surge. In the Philippines, you know, we develop everywhere. We go up to the mountains and destroy our forests and all that. That is the difference. But then again, as I explained earlier, we want to protect these forest areas because there are dangers building in steep slopes. No? There will be flooding in the urban areas, there will be landslides and all that. But you know, there should be a balance, I think, a balance. Japan is trying to move up, even Tacloban moving up the hills because the dangers in the lowland areas. But again, we should protect. No? I hope Tacloban will, in the development of the upland areas, will protect their green environment, because eventually it will affect just like what happened to Cebu. No? There is flooding now, there is a lot of problems because of the development in the hillside. So that's what I can contribute. Thank you.
Well, I met Professor Espina yesterday, and I was really surprised to find out that he is almost the same type of way of thinking like me. And you see, the problem is we are the urban planners, and we have been trained in a modern kind of education. And but you see, after 1970s, after the 1980s, clearly the way of planning differs from the planning before the 1960s and the 1950s. That means we have to become the more considerate to the natural ecological process. And we have been forgotten this kind of the process before 1950s. So now we have to change our way of the pattern of thinking, how to adapt ourselves to the natural ecological process. That's one process. And the second one is, because the world is now the more risky world, risks are extending all over the world. And we have to be prepared for always to be protected against these kinds of risks, natural as well as the human. You see, because of the globalization, because of the modernization, the climate change has been occurring, as Professor Espina told. And we have to take this kind of thing into consideration very seriously. But unfortunately, for the time being, our education has not been included that kind of the consideration. So the problem is we have to reconsider again how to change our own minds this situation. That's one thing. The other situation, as Professor Espina has pointed out, how we can unite ourselves among our neighbors. The community participation is the key issue for the resilient action. That's why I try to, again, to reintroduce the block style of the almost European unit of the urban asset, because this kind of the neighborhood unit may nurture the community spirit, neighborhood spirit, so that people can join together in some festival, in some disaster cases. So I think this is kind of the thinking about the human relationships within the neighborhood, very important. And now I think we have to start from that point again. So yeah, that's
I came to Tacloban after 3 months from Rwanda, and at that time the downtown is very dark, no light after 5 or 6 p.m. and I saw many debris. But now when I saw the downtown, maybe already recovered. Of course, the rural area and some areas still trying to recover, but basically downtown, when I saw the downtown, we cannot see the damage of typhoon. So I think in terms of speed of recovery is very quick in Philippines compared with Japan. But to recover the livelihood is a very big problem in Tacloban. So it's the same as Japan because in Tacloban, many people work as agriculture farmer, and the main agriculture is the coconut farm. But the coconut is devastated seriously, so it takes time to recover their livelihood. So it is the same point as Japan.
As of course, for us here in Tacloban City, I am the part of the team that is helping plan the recovery of the city. We would admit, on behalf of the city governors, we are really surmounted by this great task of rehabilitating the city. And thank you for the confidence that we are developing, rehabilitating fast than expected. And we're proud of that as Taclobanos. Indeed, we can truly say that we are resilient. But we still have a lot of things to do for the city. And yes, we are doing it slowly but surely. We don't want to rush the planning because we'd rather do it correctly than do it fast, but there will be a lot of mistakes. That's why when we are planning in the north, we are fortunate to have with us experts from other countries that are helping us, of course, from Asian countries. We have the same experience we had here in Tacloban. And of course, we meet, of course, together with JICA, we meet weekly regarding the coastal protection that they're proposing, and other agencies, foreign agencies, NGOs that are helping us. Indeed, the road ahead is very bright for us because we instantly become the global laboratory for disaster. The presence of many international organizations that help us recover fast, and that is really unprecedented. And now, in this forum, we are looking forward that many ideas will be given to us so that it would help us prepare for a better plan. And of course, the biggest room in this world is room for improvement. And as I said earlier, we're happy that we have so many experts here present today, and of course in the past, and who are still coming to help us plan and help the city recover from the ruins. And of course, with the mind, with this in mind, to build back better, not just simply trying to recover from the ruins, but this time we have to learn from the past mistakes that we had, and we believe we are now better prepared. Of course, we cannot avoid climate change, which is really happening, but we can adapt to the change. Thank you.
I arrived here yesterday morning, so I'm not so qualified to talk about the plan in the city of Tacloban. So I'd like to talk about something much more in general. What is the most important key word is, of course, sustainability. And the problem is if the plan has sustainability or not in the long term. And this should be assessed by scientific analysis, for example, hazard map or economical analysis or something like that. But in the end, the formation of the city or formation of urban areas should be decided by social decision. This is very different from scientific analysis. And social decision should be made by people, should be made by city authority in the end, but based on the public participation. In that meeting, I fully agree to Professor Nohara. And in that meeting, whole things should be considered. And in that meeting, I also agree to Professor Joseph that so not only disaster management or not only hazard resiliency, disaster proof, but also natural conservation or cultural conservation, preservation, or economical activities. All things should be considered in this process. And that's why the formation of the resiliency of the city different from one to another. And that's why I found some similarity to this Tacloban city to the example of Aceh compared to the Japanese example. But we are making something relatively technical aspect oriented recovery process, and the city of Aceh is now proceeding something different way, and that's what are you are going to choose. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to do second questions. I want to focus more in Tacloban, especially in the North Plan area. I want to know, yesterday the Japanese experts visit the area, and also the experts. I want to know your opinion about the North area in relation with the development of the total area of this Tacloban. What is the merit of the merit that you can find in this?
Well, in our visits yesterday afternoon, I was very impressed by some of the developments there, especially the transitional houses built on the slope. No, in fact, I think it was very well planned because it considered the topography. Now, comparing it to the permanent houses, in fact, I feel that it is it does consider really these factors, not the environmental factors. I explained earlier, when we develop in our upland areas, we should consider environmental factors which come into play. Like for example, I'm ever concerned about the seawall that was mentioned earlier, if it really works, because in the video during the tsunami in Japan, these seawalls were actually breached, breached by the tsunami, which is very high. And in our case in Tacloban, how much was it? 15 meter high, 12 to 15 meter high wave, storm surge. So I wonder how effective a seawall can be. So I think we should rethink all this engineering, too much hard thinking, and why not think about a more natural means, environmental means. I was mentioning about mangrove areas which could be at least dissipate the big waves, the large mangrove areas. But I wonder, I'm not really very familiar with work in large cities like Tacloban. So what I'm just driving at is we have to apply more environmental and natural solutions rather than hardscape engineering solutions to our rehabilitation efforts. Thank you.
Well, like Professor Prabhu has told, I have no position to comment on the results of what you are doing here in Tacloban. So my impression is more or less very vague, and which is applicable also to the Japanese one. But anyhow, my observation is this. You see, when you distinguish the temporal or the transitional one to the permanent one, what means by temporal and what means by permanent? Because you see, if you think of this kind of the very well designed, as Professor S.P. and all, the very well designed, very type of the temporal houses, they can be repaired, they can be refurbished, and they can be changed. It's very versatile, very changeable way of building. So it's also maybe structurally it seems to be weak, but it can be sustainable for longer time. So what's the definition of temporal at all? That's one thing. And also, if you refer to that kind of the concrete building as a permanent, then is it really sustainable for 20 years or 30 years as a town with where the people live for a long time? Because if you think of a longer time, perhaps the urban design and the housing design should be different from that which is comparable, almost temporal or traditional houses, with the size and the functions and amenity of the house. And considering the natural climate, I think that kind of the concrete building is not so much comfortable. But perhaps the social value is different from mine. The social value of the people is different from mine. So maybe they prefer the concrete type of building. But you see, if that's permanent, then it should be the housing asset should be more tangible, more flexible, more sustainable for the future, open to the future time, I think.
Actually, I'm not so familiar with North Plan. Last time I visited the city office and I discussed each other about it. So in my impression, it's difficult but very important to develop the infrastructure, such as especially water supply system and sewage system. And also, so many people relocate from the existing areas, so people have work at the existing area. And many people are fishery and agricultural farmers. So how we can ensure their livelihood is also very important. And so relocation is very important for North Plan. And so the relation with the existing area is also important because the existing area is now also recovering, and some situation is different. For example, we support Redevelopment to construct the federal embankment. If so, as the existing area also the situation different, so we need to think the development of existing area also.
Further explain why the city government has opted to relocate the affected residents. So we decided to move to the north, which is, based on our study, is the safest part of the city, considering it's far from the coast. And we are going to build through the national government more than 14,000 houses there, and it's ongoing right now. And so, yes, we admit it's a gargantuan task to do that, and so to speak, we hit the ground running. We were somehow caught flat-footed because of what happened in Typhoon Yolanda. So right now we are catching up, and we are planning. Of course, I showed earlier the road network, which connects all the different housing units, and we have considered the main road and connecting roads and an alternative bypass road, which will lead from the Kabalawan area and eventually connect to the south and to the Babatwan area, which eventually will become a major port. So all of these we have. And we're trying to consider all aspects of good planning. And of course, the alternative transport system, which is the ferry service that will fly the San Juanico Strait going down to downtown and even to the airport of Tacloban. And of course, it will also serve the tourist industry, because our San Juanico Strait is a very scenic place to see, and of course the famous San Juanico Bridge. So all of this in mind, with this planning process that we have to do, we are always open to new ideas, suggestions, opinions, and experts, and even the community. That's why we always consult the community. We always have these public hearings, and of course the affected residents who will be all relocated there in the north. That's why we had these temporary shelters, considering that the 14,000 houses are not yet all completed. So every month we move people from the danger zones to the temporary housing units and eventually to the permanent houses. Yes, we would admit we are not perfect in the planning. Of course, in the planning of the housing units which is being constructed by NSA, our role of the city is just to monitor and to provide the services. Like, for example, the city is providing for water, and through the electrical company, the LEECO has also graciously provided electrical connections. So, of course, we have to admit the main problem there in the north is the water, the drinking water and the service water. So, we are addressing that in three ways. We call this the intermediate addressing by the short-term way by delivering water through tankers. And we have this medium-term plan and a long-term plan, which is through, of course, again, through the UNDP has helped us prepare a feasibility study that shows that it's feasible to provide a new water system for the north. The source would be in Haro and even in Mapatuan. We can also utilize rain harvesting methods and through groundwater. And it will cost more than 2 billion to have a water system in the north. So we are waiting for partners or investors who will come to Tacloban who will put up the water system. So yes, it is a very, as I mentioned, gargantuan task, but thanks to the leadership of our mayor, was the vision and the determination to address these problems, even way beyond his term, and we will be doing it together. The help of the international groups, and of course the national government and locally. So these things can only be accomplished by teamwork. And we need all that, especially I'm addressing this to the students who will soon become the new architects of the city. I urge you to help us through your research and your diligence. And I've seen your exhibits, it's really very impressive. So I believe that we have enough brains to help us come up with better plans. Thank you.
Again, let me apologize because I have I can't say anything about concrete opinion about the plan of the city of Tacloban, but in generally speaking, it is very difficult in all over the world to make such kind of sub-center, sub-city apart from the city center, which leads either the decline of city center or the failure of the new center. And it's very difficult, both city centers to make, survive or nourish in good condition. This is the planning aspect. So first of all, it is very important to assess the relationship between the new part and the old part. Not only the location of the facilities, but also the location of living of the people. And in that meeting, it is very important to make some options of the urban planning, not to let you know the end result of the internal discussion on the administration, for example, but in the early time, the citizens should be involved and citizens should be participating, and they have to choose. And so in that meaning, the urban planning or physical planning is not the premise of whole planning, but many other sectional planning should be involved in that planning process. So for example, as Mr. Hernandez mentioned, the livelihood of fishermen, for example, is or may be very important in this city, though I'm not so sufficient information about that. But so how to maintain those people? And the urban planning or city planning or spatial planning is not the premise of those maintenance of the livelihood of fishermen. But fishermen's livelihood is the most important thing, and how to maintain that, and to maintain those industry. What can urban planning contribute to that? And urban planning is the waiting process of most such kind of many sector planning. So not only fishery industry, but also other facts or other interests. So this waiting process and in the early phase planning involvement or participation, citizen participation process with some options. Those processes are very important. That's all.
Thank you very much. We have only 5 last minutes. I want to do the last question. I want to respond very quick. Let's have 1 minute, please. The question is about the relation Japan-Philippine relation. This is relationship, one place is China. And Japan family involved in this, I want to ask what Jaika can be much better. I mean, what Jaika installation make it work and can be make it better for the consumers.
I just want to mention that in Cebu, that's my experience in Cebu, JICA is very much involved. In fact, I mentioned earlier that we are now doing the Metro Cebu plan through the JICA study team, and I am part of the team. I feel that the relationship between Japan and the Philippines is growing very strong. We can even experience it in our college. We have linkages with, in Sapporo, businessmen. They come to Cebu to hire our students to do graphic arts. So that's for our fine arts department. And then we have linkages with Hokkaido University, Fuji Women's University. End of the month, Setsunan University, 20 students from their universities coming to Kappa to coordinate. But I think JICA has a very big, important role in this. And we are seeing this very strongly in Cebu, and we want to participate. The important thing, as mentioned by this panel earlier, is participative planning. It is not only the experts who know everything, so the people should be consulted. And in Cebu, we are doing that through the Mega Cebu project. So Mega Cebu, there are businessmen, there are the community and civil society involved in the planning, so we are being very consulted. So I'm proud of JICA working with us in the Mega Cebu plan. Thank you.
Well, before I came here, I visited the main office of JICA and asked the possibility of the further assistance to the development city of the JICA main office, how they think about that. I found out, I didn't know that, but I found that JICA has been doing a very good job there. Not only they are proposing hardware type of these projects, but also they have done a very good activities like a quick impact project, which has assisted many fishermen, many people there, local people, to regain their livelihood, to assist the development of the recovering of their livelihood. And notion, concept of the value formation, they try to help the people here and connect the people here to the people of Higashima Tsushima City in Miyagi Prefecture. So it seems that they are, I see, doing much better job than in Japan, I think. Because many consultants in Japan are doing only heavily relying upon the hardware aspect of
program. But yeah, they have paid considerable consideration to the software aspect. And I think they have been contributing very good. But unfortunately, the next year, that kind of the assistance should be stopped. And I wonder what kind of the step we can really find out. And perhaps the local office people here, he's worried about that, I think.
This question is very difficult to answer, very big question. But to work together is very important. So now we are working with more than 10 national staff in Filipino. So more and more we work together, we can get understand each other. So it's important. And one more thing, the food is also important. So in Tacloban we can have many good restaurants and we can taste very good seafood. So last year our team member came to Tacloban in private with his wife because of the food. Food is very nice, so they come back to Tacloban. And also we invite the Tacloban mayor and other LG officer to Japan, Higashima City. At that time they also talked about, of course, we discussed about many things for recovery and reconstruction, but finally we talked about food. Food is very nice, so we should introduce the food, Filipino food in Japan.
Thank you. Actually, I would safely say that Philippines and Japan has a very good relationship, and particularly in Tacloban and regionally. Personally, I had a very close experience with JICA way back in 1991 when I was one of the consultants for Morin Architects doing projects funded by JICA in the region, and they built 69 school buildings which even survived the Typhoon Yolanda. Imagine, they built the school buildings way back in 91, and it has withstood the test of time and elements. So for that, I would like to congratulate JICA for that. And way back in after the Ormo tragedy, JICA also helped, of course, help rebuild and provide protection for the river banks of Ormoc, and JICA has also been instrumental for that. And even in Tacloban now, early on after the Yolanda tragedy, JICA was already present. I was there in our office when they came, the team that visited our office and offered their help, and from then until now they're still here, and they're really doing a wonderful job of helping the region, particularly Tacloban, to recover. In fact, they're also helping. JICA is funding the outpatient department of the EVRNC hospital in Bagakay. It's I think a 500 million worth of outpatient department building which they are funding. And of course, the forthcoming that's in the pipeline. They're planning to put up a coastal, they're designing a coastal protection for the city and for Tanawan and Paco. So with that, that's a clear evidence that Japan, the Philippines, particularly Tacloban region, has a very good relationship, and we appreciate that. And as what was mentioned earlier, the mayor was invited in Tokyo to observe and to orient him on what Tokyo has been doing, and of course to inform the mayor of the help that they are extending to Tacloban. Of course, recently, 2 weeks ago, our city administrator has been invited also in Japan to observe especially also in Sendai City. So with that, I'm safe to say that it's really validated. It's evident that we have a good working relationship with the government, the country of Japan and its people. So thank you so much on behalf of the city.
I'm a university professor, so teaching and learning is my main job. And so in that meaning, I think it's very important to teach and learn, not only one way, but both ways. So to learn in each other. We have many things to learn from Philippines, and maybe Philippines has many things to learn from Japan or other countries. And in that meaning, I think this learning and teaching process with each other is the most important thing. And I think that's what the JICA is now doing, and what the Tacloban City Authority is now doing. And in that meaning, it's important to discuss on the stage like this, but it's also important, as Mr. Ivana said, mentioned, to eat something together and enjoy a meal. But not only enjoy a meal, but also alcohol is much more important for me personally. Yesterday I drank very good beer, and I enjoyed it very much. That's a very important thing, especially in Japan. So thank you very much. And it's time to enjoy lunch.
Thank you very much to Nicholas and Texasio. Thank you to Professor Stima, to